United Church of Christ is open and affirming, open communion, and has always been actively involved in justice. If you look at the history of the United Church of Christ, you will see that that stands out as different from any other denomination.
Congregational Church is the first church of New England from Pilgrims and Puritans. It is very decentralized. The church focuses on individual congregation, involved in civil rights, women's movements, and they are very big on social justice. Congregational United Church of Christ, or CUCC, found in 1890s as Pilgrim Congregational by Reverend Simmons. The Pilgrim Congregational Church remained on the south side of High Point until the 1960s. It later merged with Washington Terrace Church to form CUCC, which now stands on Gordon Street. Reverend Zachariah Simmons comes from AMA on commission to spread the Congregationalist Church to High Point. He founded Pilgrim Congregational through the AMA in 1890 to serve as a church and school for High Point's Black community. He was also the founder of several churches in North Carolina and decided to settle in High Point. His wife, Eugenia Simmons, was a part of the High Point Minister's Wife group. Reverend Ben Elton Cox became pastor of Pilgrim Congregational Church in 1958. Reverend Cox was one of the first 13 Freedom Riders. He joined the High Point School Desegregation Committee in 1959 and led students from High Point's William Penn High School on the first sit-ins in the city, beginning in February 1960. He also joined Congress of Racial Equality, or CORE, in 1961 and became its National Field Secretary.
Knowing that our pastor was Ben Elton Cox and the impact he had on the city, it just makes it feel extra special. You know, we're a small church. We feel like we're forgotten because we're small and not a whole lot of people come here. But with that, with him being who he was and what he was to the church and to High Point, we will never be forgotten. I feel like we will always be known.
Yeah, I agree. He was really a Christian. He Christianed my children.
Oh, really?
So I got a picture of him and holding my oldest daughter, and with the Gilmores, Helen and Archie. I enjoyed it. It was the way he preached on Sunday mornings. We had our books today is not like the books we had when we was on the south side. But every Sunday morning, each person would have a reading. The person that was doing the reading would get up and read, and the church would have us reading to come in after they. It was really good. I liked the way he did it.
It's a lot of participation.
Everybody was involved. He got everybody involved.
Yeah. Okay.
I can remember when they started trying to integrate high schools. We went to a school that was way away from where we lived in order to, help with that cause. And I can remember us marching downtown. I was probably, 13, 14, something like that. I can remember just following in behind him, wanting to do, what he wanted us to do. Yes. We would also visit other churches and, trying to get more black people into, the predominantly white churches. I can remember just following him, and I can remember one march we had. If you did that march, you were able to get on the bus and go hear Martin Luther King speak think it was in Raleigh, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So there I was on that bus going to Raleigh, which was it was important to us. And like I said, we could follow him, you know.
In the fall of 1965, the trustees of Pilgrim negotiated a property transfer with the High Point City Board of Education. The deal would move Pilgrim from its original location on the corner of Fairview and Taylor Streets to its present-day site on Gordon Street. Pilgrim Congregational and Washington Terrace Church merged as one in 1972, bringing together the two congregations to become CUCC. J.T. Stanley was the reverend of the church during its move from Washington Terrace to Gordon Street. He was also fulfilling his duties as superintendent of the South and still able to bring the Congregational together. The congregation, along with their children, followed willingly to the new building.
He was not the type of person that would talk much about his accomplishments. What I learned about God and ministry, I saw more by watching him than him standing up saying, this is what the Lord says. And I would listen to him preach, but his lifestyle told me more about who God was and what ministry was about. When they went to High Point, we went with them. If Miss So-and-so didn't show up for church before we came back home, we had to go to her house to see why she was not able to come, out of concern for her. And if there was something that needed to be done, my grandma might straighten up the house or make sure that there was something there for the children to eat. But that, to me, is what ministry is about. And so that's what I witnessed being with them.